Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Outlook. I'm Paul Spaventa, Interim Superintendent for Pemberton Township Schools. This is my last episode of Inside Outlook because this Monday, February 1st, we will be welcoming your new superintendent, Mr. Jeff Havers. Today, we're going to take a few minutes to talk to Mr. Havers to learn a little bit more about him, how he feels about his new role, and what his goals are for the district. And while we have been conducting all interviews on the program from a 6-foot social distancing on our stage, today we're going to social distance even further, and we'll be talking to Mr. Havers from his office in Brotherhood Administration. Good morning, Mr. Havers.
Good morning, Mr. Spaventa.
You've been at Pemberton for the past 5 years, most recently an assistant superintendent for pre-K through 5th grade. Tell us more about your background and other experience in education.
Great. I started my career at Hainesport. I was a teacher there for 13 years. I was a 5th grade teacher, and then I spent the last 8 years as a middle school social studies teacher. Then I moved to Berlin Community School in Berlin Borough. I was a principal there for 6 years. That was a pre-K to 8th grade building. It was a school that had about 875 students. And then after that, I joined the Pemberton team in 2015.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been here for 5 years. What have you learned about the Pemberton community?
Well, first off, I know we have a dedicated, caring, and extremely talented staff. I know we have parents who cherish their kids. They're committed to their education of their kids and are willing to sacrifice to give their kids the best they can. And that has been really exemplified during these times during COVID, as their parents are really stepping up and stepping in and taking on a really challenging role as they work and also try to help educate their children. So you can see the commitment and the sacrifice, the shared sacrifice to give the best for their children.
These are challenging times for educational leaders. You have to deal with serious issues such as pandemic, budget cuts, and chronic absenteeism, just to name a couple of things. What led you to pursue the position of superintendent in the present state of education?
Mr. Spaventa, you are right. These are certainly challenging times. And I've said before, even when I interviewed with the Board of Education, I don't believe this is the most exciting time to be superintendent in Pemberton. But I do believe it may be the most important time to be the superintendent. And I look forward to the opportunity to serve. As a child growing up, I was a student at Dembo School for a short period of time. I was also a student at Byzanski School. And when I was at Dembo, I had a teacher that had a great impact on my life, Miss Avila. She taught me how to believe in myself. She taught me to challenge myself. And it's the reason why, well, besides the fact that I love learning, I wanted to make a difference the way she made a difference for me. And this gives me another opportunity as a member of the team to continue to try to make a difference in the lives of other people.
Terrific. What's your vision for the Pemberton learning community, both in the short term and the long term?
Well, our immediate goal is to make sure we get our kids back into school and return safely to live in-person instruction. Then we'll need to work on addressing any of the learning loss. And the learning loss is not just academically, it's also socially and emotionally. We know our kids are struggling. There are some that have adapted to online learning pretty well, but there are others who have not. And again, that learning loss is not just academically, but it's also socially, emotionally. We're going to have to work on building up relationships and supporting our kids when they come back. Long term, there are many wonderful people and programs that are in place in Pemberton. And our battle is going to be to do the best we can to minimize the negative impact of the budget cuts from S2 on our children and still seek ways to try to enhance the learning experience. So we have some daunting goals ahead, but we have a great team to accomplish those.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we close, can you tell us a little bit about yourself so our audience can get to know you better?
Yes. I'm married. My wife, Terry, is a director for various homeless programs in Philadelphia. My oldest child, Kai, is a senior and will be attending one of the local universities for architecture. At least I hope it's local. And then my youngest daughter, Corinne, is an avid cook, an avid baker, and also she loves to work out. So when she cooks and bakes, she's often handing them off to me. So it doesn't help me, but she stays healthy. I enjoy reading. I enjoy golfing, and I love watching the local sports teams. Even the Eagles, Mr. Spaventa, when they're 4-1-11. I still enjoy watching them.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today, Mr. Havers. I wish you great success in your position.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spaventa, and thank you for everything you've done for Pemberton since June. These have been challenging, very trying months to come in and help bridge the gap between Mr. Trangone and myself. And I appreciate all your guidance and support. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Since this is my last show, I want to take a minute to thank the Board of Education for giving me the opportunity to serve this fine district. It's been a difficult 11 months for our students and their parents. Our staff, having families of their own, had difficult decisions to make as well. The item that's most notable in Pemberton Township is the support of the community through this crisis and the confidence that the decisions we have made were in the best interest for the safety of their children. Know that the Board of Education, administration, and staff have never lost sight of the fact that we are facing a deadly adversary. Despite this, we work diligently to provide the best education possible under very challenging circumstances. I will remember my time here fondly. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to keep an eye out for the next edition of Inside Outlook with new Superintendent Jeff Havers.